A highly suited guest to lead the charge, Tali Roth is a vibrant talent in the interior design industry and beyond. Tali's background is as layered and dynamic as her interior projects. With studies in psychology, fashion and interior design, her diverse portfolio of work reflects a thoughtful, playful and eclectic approach. After completing her studies in Melbourne, Tali moved to New York with her husband, diving into the interior design world with limited experience but incredible tenacity and a sharp eye for detail. Beginning her career with home polish, she soon launched her eponymous design studio in New York. Post-pandemic, she's back home re-establishing her studio in Melbourne as she continues to make her mark on the local and international design landscape. An ex-work colleague, a friend and fellow designer, Tali welcomed to Her Design Her Story. One of the greatest things I admire about you, Tali, in the time I've known you is your ability to adapt and keep evolving, always with a great sense of humour. Going back to the beginning of your design journey, can you describe to me what drew you to interior design particularly?
So it's important the context is that I studied psychology, and that due to a bunch of things, I was going to have to take a semester off and just like have a retail job. Yeah. And my dad and mum suggested, why don't you make some clothes and sell it? Which was a strange thing to do. Yeah. And I don't think either of them really understood what they were suggesting. And my dad sort of picked this nominal number out of the air of $20,000. We'll invest $20,000 in you and you'll start a fashion company. And now it's funny thinking back, but it was odd. But I went and did it, and it was like it just took me over. I just absolutely loved it. And I was running this business by myself and super young, and kind of it just suited me. You know, I wasn't really partying with friends. I kind of never was. I was always a little bit focused and serious and typical firstborn. But after like 4 years, I could see that like I just was not going to be profitable.
Yeah.
But by that point, I was so far gone down the creative path. I just loved it so much. But the number one thing I left that experience with was the idea that I really didn't want to invest in creating product and like put my personal money or my parents' money into creating something that was reliant on how other people felt in that moment and whether they would purchase it or not. And also around that time, I was getting really influenced by when I was shooting these collections that I designed, like the idea of the set and the idea of like the feel of the space was starting to kind of trickle through my inspiration, and I was becoming really focused on like Mad Men style and like 60s vibes and
all the good interiors.
Which is I've always been inclined. I've always loved that. And so I kind of thought, oh, maybe like interiors is the way to go. And so I met up with my mum's best friend's an interior designer. So I had coffee with her and went out for the day. I met up with Chica from the Big Group.
Oh, yeah.
And we went out for a coffee and we spoke about event styling, and she gave me an internship, and she's like, why don't you just come to my company and see how you like event styling. And then I went, I had a chat with Amanda Henderson from Gloss.
Yeah.
And spoke about like visual merchandising. And I kind of could see that the visual merchandising wasn't going to be for me. I'm like not. I don't think I could do. I'm not good enough with my hands or like focused enough.
A different scale.
Yeah, it was just like not. It wasn't going to be my thing. Events was awesome and I really loved it, but there was something that didn't sit right with me about investing like all this money into one evening.
A short-term
kind of creative output.
Sort of lives more through photographs.
It just felt like there was a wasteful element and like a bit of an elitist element to it that I didn't love, but I had an amazing time doing it and I learnt a lot. And so I decided that I'd go to RMIT and study interior design based off all of that. And is that what you asked me?
Yes. Well, I had the great pleasure of working with you when you were, I remember you came into the office, we were working with each other at the time. I was during my first pregnancy.
Yeah.
I was not well. I was really struggling to get my head around what my life would look like post having a baby.
Yeah.
And you came in with this great, vivacious sense of humour, thank goodness, because I think he saved me for a while, but also just this wonderful backstory. I felt like so many of us had followed quite a linear path to get there, but you had this wonderful wealth of experience behind you, which was really...
you were very, very nice to me, and you didn't need to be, since I was this little pisher from uni who I emailed Simone Haig, who was sort of heading up the FF&E at Hecker Guthrie at the time, and I said, I'll work for you for free if you let me shadow you a few days a week while I'm at uni. And so I did that, and I came in and she set me these tasks and I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And you were just so kind to me, and you didn't need to be, since you were a very cool, very seasoned, fancy interior architect.
It's too kind.
But then, once you turned green and started fainting in the office, I realised something wasn't quite right.
Something's not right. No, it was a funny time, but I do remember you started working there, and then you came into work one day and said, my husband's got this amazing job offer in New York.
Yeah.
So with a little bit of envy, we said goodbye, and you went off to New York with a fairly limited amount of experience.
Very limited.
Under your belt.
Yeah.
You did a brief stint when you started there with Home Polish, who I believe is no longer in existence.
Yeah.
What was the decision process for you? What did it take for you to go from working for a business like that to starting your own business while you were away?
So the business was kind of an agency. So I was running my own jobs there. So I still to this day haven't really had training in the sense of working in a structured business. So it was an interior design agency where they basically matched us. It was like a matchmaking service. So they would send me somewhere 45 minutes on the train in New York, and I would have a 5-hour job, which would be broken up into 1-hour segments. That's how they started. They were selling design time by the hour. They were trying to commoditize interior design.
Tough way to sell it.
There was really awesome things about it, but it probably should have just been about decor. But then it started to spill into, these kind of construction renovation jobs, which just don't work on an hourly basis. And particularly when you're trying to sell something affordable to people, but then, lo and behold, your designer's saying, well, I need 50 hours and so there was a lot of flaws in it, but I was there from the beginning and I felt loyal to them. But because I was doing it myself and people were starting to find me through social media, it was a completely different landscape. And I remember they built 1 million, they had 1 million followers. And so whenever they would post about me, I would get this influx of thousands of followers. And so then people started reaching out and saying, can I just work with you on your own? And I was hesitant for a while, but then I set up my own LLC and had my own business there. So it was pretty natural if you were kind of there and saw the context of the work I was already doing. Yeah.
What's during the pandemic, you moved back to Melbourne.
Yeah.
How have you found that shift? I know you still do quite a lot of work in the US market. How have you found that shift moving from New York back to Melbourne from a business point of view? Has it changed?
It's been tough, yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough culturally because I think the American, it's just a completely different market. There is just so many more designers there. So you can be the best because there's 100 other people who are considered the best in their field, whereas in Melbourne or in Australia, it's a much smaller field and there's really only a few that rise to the top and then everyone else sort of blends together. There's also a bit of a culture, particularly in New York City, where everyone wants to recommend and tell you who their interior designer is, and they're amazing, you have to work with them. And there's a real kind of sense of pushing people up and giving people a platform and saying, promoting good talent. Very different to Melbourne. Also the culture around renting. People might rent for 30 years in New York. They're very happy to put holes in the wall or change things out.
And do their own design process.
Correct, yeah. So I had like heaps of renters. I worked mainly in apartments. Towards the end of my time in New York, I was doing more like a few kind of second homes and upstate clients in the Hamptons and stuff like that. But yeah, so it was very different. And then also like the culture around decoration is really, really different. So again, it was a huge learning curve for me leaving and being surrounded by, you know, the aesthetic at Hector Guthrie, which was really influenced by Scandinavian design. And then moving to New York and everything's quite grungy and dark and worn and
a bit more eclectic.
Quite eclectic and a huge focus on heritage. And yeah, so that was a big learning curve. And then coming back, it's also been a bit of a jump.
Bit of a shift.
Yeah.
Having said it's a tough market, you have been in business for 10 to 12 years, which is amazing. How would you describe the current structure of your studio in Melbourne? Do you have people working for you, mentors? What does your day-to-day business look like? So, I'm always self-conscious talking about it because I think people think I have a bigger business than I do. I had an office when I first moved back. Yes.
And then I realised really quickly that with young children it's
hard.
It was just really difficult. So I got rid of that. It was just another overhead that was stressing me out. I have one person working for me almost full time. And I think if you work for me or with me, you need to be a bit of a jack of all trades because I just do a bit of everything all the time. So you've got to be good at the procurement and the decor, but also drawing and
just the reality of a lot of what we do.
Of a small business where it's a high touch and there's no.
It's good though. I think it can
fun.
hone your skills across. Different facets
for sure.
of business.
Yeah. But I would say I'm not necessarily like a born teacher or leader. And so
I find delegating really hard as well.
How
do you find that?
I don't mind delegating. I just find it very difficult. In fact, when I was driving here, I was speaking to the girl that's working for me and we were talking about how it's very difficult to get out of my brain the things that I have stored in there. I'm just not naturally... It's difficult for me to communicate my design ideas to somebody. Yeah, it's difficult. I think it's kind of difficult to work for me. Not from a personality perspective. I'm
going on.
I'm quite pleasant, I would say. But the brain farts and the brain mess is intense for people to
extrapolate what they're doing.
Yeah.
You recently added some beautiful decor pieces to your business that you're selling, some stunning cushions. Is there parts of that business that you're looking at evolving further? Or are you seeing how that pans out?
So I don't think the pillows have been like an incredible hit. They've been fine. Things have sold, but I sort of knew that the price point that I was working with wasn't really going to fly in Australia. It's just too expensive. So I'm looking at continuing that, but maybe just doing like 2 pieces in that collection. I've got a bunch of vintage chairs that I've been collecting that I've reupholstered in like Italian fabrics that I'll also be listing in the next month. But again, I'm trialing things because my philosophy, especially like post having a business in fashion, is really like do not invest too much of your own money into anything. I want to only engage in things that are low risk for me. I'm just not in that stage of life where I can be taking these big risks financially. So I'm doing that, but that might just be a once a year thing or a once every 2 year kind of thing. I made some pieces for Melbourne Design Week.
Yes, I was going to touch on that. Some beautiful pieces.
Yeah.
I felt like that was a really successful
I really loved
week.
it. Yeah, it was great because I've done things like that before and they weren't so successful. It wasn't that it was successful in that I've, sold all these pieces. It was successful in that it was a really genuine and nice partnership with the gallery and myself because what I like to do is create like artistic furniture pieces when I can. And so to make it for that, to have all these eyes on it and to kind of align with a gallery like that just felt really good. And then, I've been making some custom rugs, But
They're beautiful. I
every-
keep seeing them.
Yeah, it's really, I'm loving doing it. I just, I'm still figuring out the platform and the forum and the strategy. Yeah, because I never, people might like laugh in, maybe in 10 years you can like show this clip and I will have 50 people working for me. But my intention is to always be small. I don't believe that I will like a big business with lots of overheads.
I think the other thing I can see, having worked across, I know we've both worked across a variety of business structures, I think there's something really special in being able to offer your own time to a client and being the one that's present at meetings, or I often take meetings after hours, or clients can call me or text me, and because I'm not trying to filter it down through too many people, it 100%. Actually there's quite a personal
it is really
relationship
personal.
there. Yeah,
so
which is
like
exciting.
I like that, and I didn't intentionally run my own business for flexibility with children, but I don't know how people do it full time with young children.
I was going to touch on that next, because in line obviously with your wonderful business, you have a very busy and involved life outside work. As often with creatives, I find that boundary can be quite blurred between work and life. It's not necessarily a definitive line. You have 3 young children.
Yeah.
What does the structure of life outside work look like for you? Is there a structure, or are you a bit like me and I sort of wing it?
I totally wing it.
Yes.
We would love there to be a structure, but the structure just like falls over every time we try.
Yes.
Yeah. Our 3 kids have completely different needs from one another. They're at quite different ages, and it's really intense and really busy. And I always, particularly in our field, there's a lot of events that are always at like between 5 and 7, which
it's a nightmare
is like
on a Wednesday.
Yeah,
I can never get there.
I can never ever get there, and it's difficult. It feels a little bit isolating. This stage of life can feel a little bit isolating in business, even though I know you're going through the exact same thing. I know there's plenty of other people in our world, but like when you look at a surface level, it feels like everyone is able to engage in these multiple events and constantly being looking
while
at
I'm sitting at
while I'm like getting like dinner thrown at my face.
Well, one of the things I think really I enjoy is your Instagram profile. I know you're looking at me sideways, but I feel like that cleverly weaves together, in my eyes, a really realistic approach to your life. I think it feels very genuine. It's funny. There's some beautiful work photos, but you also post about the reality of children as well, which I think is great. And that's something I find Instagram really difficult to navigate sometimes.
That's because you're very thoughtful. Like if you're not thoughtful, you just sort of like vomit on there in that moment.
Have you found with social media, is that just something that's naturally evolved for you? I just enjoy it. You'll post, a beautiful curated workshop, but then there's something really funny that's happened at home, or you kind of don't take yourself too seriously. I think it feels like it hits that balance.
Well, it's funny you should mention it, because I've been working with someone in marketing, and we've been discussing whether the brand voice is appropriate. Like, it is appropriate.
I just think you're often looking
says.
For that point of difference, and I feel like it's very you. And I feel like if you met,
am I able to attract like bigger, better clients with this?
I think
voice?
so. There was a gorgeous client that you very kindly put me in touch with a few years ago now.
Yes.
You brought me into a job, and the thing that had attracted her to you was she's like, just this wonderful, approachable sense of self, where I think sometimes that Instagram read of everything being too polished is not necessarily the reflection of who you're going to get.
Well, I think for me, so when I did start this Instagram account, I think it was 2015, I decided, I made an intention. I didn't realize it was an intention, but now that I look back, it definitely was. And I said, okay, I'm going to post 3 times a week, and I'm going to post about work, and I'm not going to include my son very much, unless there's a milestone, or if I do, it will be on story, so it disappears. Yeah. And so I started doing that, and I sort of since the pandemic, I haven't done it in that kind of way. But the idea was that I was never too serious, because I find that really boring. I also definitely don't take myself that seriously. I find it really difficult to. I find it really difficult to be serious. Like even with clients, I can't not make a joke or be inappropriate. It's just, yeah, it feels it's bad though.
No, it's good. I think it's realistic though, I think.
But yeah, so I did have this intention, and I think though, because I never started, no, I don't have a personal Instagram account. I've never posted
It's
about
all woven together.
It's just my business. And so, yeah, I try to not, like now I have to think like be respectful of your children and like don't post things about them that they'll be upset about.
Don't embarrass them.
But like Ruby's 3 and she, you know.
No, I think it's
so
gorgeous.
cute.
I also love seeing interiors that have been beautifully shot, like your house, and then the reality of how people live in them. I think people actually quite enjoy that.
Yeah, totally.
Because there's always that sense of, you know, I say to clients, it's a little bit of smoke and mirrors in pulling things together for a photo shoot, and then the reality of how they're so livable. A lot of your recent work, I love the layering and the bold. It's very whimsical and creative. I know underneath that there has to be a level of technical detail that brings things together. Where do you go for inspiration for your projects? Is it certain designers? Are you looking at magazines, artwork, a bit of everything?
I think it's super specific to the job. I think that the clients, I think the best jobs, the most interesting jobs, the clients provide me with a lot of inspiration. So like I get a really good sense of who they are and of what they're looking for and what they're attracted to. I'm trying to what is my recent work? I don't really know. Well,
you're still doing a bit of work in the US. I noticed you've posted some gorgeous projects there.
Yeah.
Obviously your house, which I love.
Yeah, my house.
Stunning.
My house was it's like a bit of a unicorn because I spent hundreds of hours thinking about it behind the scenes, and I didn't have to bill anyone, so that was good.
Yeah.
So it really shows because it's so authentic and like it's completely what we wanted it to be, and it matched with where we were at in life and what our budget was and all the rest of it. So yeah, like my biggest thought is I kind of look to my client for inspiration. What do they like? What colours are they attracted to? Are they more contemporary? Are they more traditional? I obviously like overlay my own vision over that, but yeah, I try to let them kind of shine through. But yeah, the in terms of like actually getting inspiration, I don't travel a whole heap at the moment, and so yeah, it's like books and you know the same as you probably
Magazines.
Yeah.
Websites.
Magazines when I get to it. Yeah, websites like, there's certain designers like that I just love to pieces. Italian designers like D'Amore and Studio McQualter, although they don't have a website, but they're just like the fucking
very clever.
The trucking coolest. So clever.
I know. I met someone from their office the other night,
really?
and I was drilling them.
Oh yeah.
It's like, why don't you have a website? We need to see more photos.
No, it's so I love that they don't.
Day. Yeah,
I love that they don't. Like
I know, but
it gives me such a sense of like, anytime I feel funny about, I should do more, I should post more. I'm like, fuck it. Like the best in the business don't need that.
Don't rely on that.
Yeah. And there's, and people do, like if I would study their website, so good that they don't do it because it would just throw me off track. But I guess like if I have to think about what I love about them, it's that there's kind of a pared backness to things. I don't feel like they over design. So like they'll allow some of the natural elements to shine through, or they'll let something be a little bit undone. So I'll often think about that when I'm completing a space and say, okay, well, like, I don't need every single element to be, I need every element to be considered, but it doesn't need to be done. Like I don't feel that good when I walk into a house and like every single corner has been designed. And like particularly because I don't do a heap of ground up builds. It's like I do quite a few renovations.
Yeah.
And so, and this is kind of where the experience with apartments shines through. When you have dealt with so many apartments with so many strange existing conditions, you really learn to disguise or integrate that into the design, and like that's when you learn how to use decor and fabric and color and lighting to really transform a space, and you don't need to spend $100,000 on joinery.
Joinery, yeah.
Yeah.
It's always tricky.
It's
the
hard.
budget.
Yeah, the budget. Yeah.
What projects have you got on the go at the moment? I know you do a bit of retail work.
Yeah, I'm doing a fun retail space at the moment on High Street in Armidale. And I'm really loving the retail work. It was I didn't intend for it to happen, but since I've moved back to Australia, there's just been quite a few retail jobs that have come my way, and I really enjoy it. It's like a quicker timeline.
It's all the things that stress me out.
Oh,
Tight
does it
budget, quick timeline. You've nailed it. Some really beautiful spaces. Do you enjoy?
I mean, I'm really enjoying it. I wouldn't want it to be my whole portfolio. Like, I love that I've got one job like that at the moment, and then I have these like groups of clients that come at the same time, and it's like they all speak to each other and they all have similar scopes. So at the moment, I'm doing heaps of like full like top to bottom furniture.
Oh, amazing.
So like coming through the whole house and, you know, really touching everything, and like paint and some like surface stuff, but really like not big renovations. And then I've got something in the pipeline that's like a really awesome heritage house that will be with an architect, and there's a whole lot of fun things happening, and I hope to do more product. I've got a product collaboration coming at the end of this year, a hardware collection with Low & Co.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, gorgeous.
Yeah. It's like based on food.
That.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, fun. Before we wrap, just like to end with a few quick fire questions.
Oh, God.
Under her edit. So I'm going to just throw some quick questions at you.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it.
Okay.
What was the first design related purchase you ever made? I always find it really intriguing to see the first piece of furniture. Was it artwork?
What pops into my head is a David Band print. Do you know David Band? It was a pink print with a grey cup on it. I think I was like maybe 20 or 19.
It's a sophisticated purchase.
Is it?
For that age, I think.
That was, I don't know, I think I collected, like stole money from like my pocket money mixed with like I asked for birthday money mixed with like, you know, I found a way to finagle it. It was from Olsen Gallery, I think, in Sydney. Yeah.
Yes, I'd say sophisticated first purchase.
Oh.
What's been your latest design-related purchase?
It's a great cue because I have not purchased. I go through this thing with after I'm in a new space. I'm like, it's very set and forget. Like I do not touch.
Oh, really? See, I'm always looking for artwork. Always.
I love art, but I also have no money at the moment. I used to.
That's the problem.
When I was working in the US more, I had this like amazing US bank account, and I'd be like incredible, and like it was worth so much more. And now like it trickles in, but like when after bills, I'm like nah. So I do love art. Yeah, arts. I would love to buy a Michael Giorgetti.
Would that be on your currently wish list?
It's not going to happen, but like art is great.
You mentioned travel. What would be your next travel destination, actual or aspirational? Where's on your to-do list?
I think I'm 40 in like less than 2 years, and I really
You're young.
I want to go to Japan. I really want to go to Japan. But honestly, like give me a holiday, like send me anywhere and I'll go. Like I'm so keen.
Happy to travel.
I'd be so happy to travel, but I don't think we're really wanting to take our children away. And so if you can find me somebody to watch our children for a week.
I was about to say I'll come away with you.
I know. I've got such bad guilt. Like, don't you feel bad to your husband?
Sometimes, yes. I feel like in the work we do, though, sometimes it's so liberating to be able to go somewhere just for a short period of time and just indulge in all the things that
I've never been to Milan. I've never done the furniture.
No, neither.
Should we go?
Be our hit list.
2026?
Yep. And it's strictly work. So I think.
Yeah, and I would happily do that for 3 or 4 days alone.
Exactly. Well, I think that's the thing as well. When you've got children, you're leaving them at home, you're prepared. Like a 24-hour travel to get somewhere doesn't faze me. I'd just rather get there, have an amazing 5 days, and then
absolutely
get out of there.
Yeah,
on the hit list.
Yeah.
I feel like you'll have a good one for this. A design faux pas that you secretly love or love to hate. I feel like a lot of your designs aren't necessarily to the rules, but is there anything where you feel like a feature
Why
wall
don't you say
colour?
what you really mean? I don't know. A design faux pas that I love or love to hate. I hate a feature wall.
Yep.
But I don't love to hate it. Like I hate a feature wall.
Feature wall.
I hate a feature wall.
Yeah, same.
Do you? Yeah, it's so shit.
People still talk about them.
What?
No.
No, people don't even talk about them. They're just like, oh, we'll just wallpaper that one wall. I'm like, that's just no. Yeah, that's probably one of my worst. White and beige. Ugh.
Yeah, that's not you.
It really hurts me. White and black, like, black framed windows and white walls and a light grey sofa. I can't believe that people do it.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
It still happens. Who would be your favourite creative icon, living or legend?
I'm pretty obsessed with Giancarlo Valle.
Yeah.
He's like very much living.
Yeah.
And I think he's one of the biggest talents in the interiors world at the moment.
Yeah.
There's a level of whimsy in his work that is like, he's just mastered so many things that I struggle to master, which is that kind of balance of fun, but it still feels really elevated and high end. And so I think I've always struggled with how to do whimsy for a certain market and it not feel kind of kitsch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, and those interiors are a lot more complex, I think, than people realise when you start to
super complex.
pull them apart.
Yeah.
Last question for you.
Yeah.
If your star was a celebrity, who would it be?
Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh, I love that for you.
Stifler's mum.
Aging well.
Do you think?
Yep.
Just
She's
like
made a great comeback.
Yeah, like massive boobs,
Living a best life.
like head to toe in pink.
Yep.
Yeah.
Making a statement, but in style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the gays all love her and like hopefully love my work. Like that's all I want.
That's
or Catherine Hahn. Oh.
Yep. No, I
Yeah.
think I'll go with Jennifer Coolidge.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Thank you so much
You're
for your
so
time today,
welcome.
Tali. It was so
Thanks
great to
for
speak
having
to
me.
you. All the best.